lessons in one today. So after I'm sure everything is working properly, always like to give it a minute or so. Pretty important, I would say. Then we're going to get on and just right on to the lessons. I might not have time for comments or questions today, so please understand that. But hopefully everybody is doing well. Hello to Scott Alexander. Welcome back. Glad to have you back with us today. We got Filthy Will back once again. We got GB, who is incorrect on the shelf color, but that's okay. I'll give you a pass today, GB. All right, I'm assuming everything looks pretty good, including me. So good. Here we go. All right, everybody. Let me get the Facebook stream started, and then we're going to get right on to it. I wonder why this is doing this. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Oh, you know, it's not really that tight. Hold on. Sorry about that. Can't have the this thing getting away from me. There we go. That's much better. It must have come loose. All right, so here we go. I'm going to get the Facebook stream started. Hello, Jeremy. Glad to have you with us today. And then we will get right onto it. Remember, lots to cover today, so I might not get to a lot of the comments. But let me get the Facebook stream started, and then we'll get right onto it. I clearly need a drink first, though. Okay. Hey, Greg. How you doing? Glad to have you with us. Okay, I already said hi to Scott. Okay. Hello, students. Your piano teacher, Tim here, back again. And today I'm going to be teaching you about how to play staccato, how to play legato, and then we're going to throw in an additional lesson because we missed last live stream. We're going to be talking about the first pieces by Bach you should learn. So a lot to cover today. If it's your first time attending, make sure you like us if you are on Facebook, the Piano Lessons on the Web Facebook page, and if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you are subscribed and you have all notifications turned on by hitting that bell notification because we have new lessons coming out all the time and you don't want to miss a beat. All right, let's get on to the staccato and legato lessons. Welcome out, everybody. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I am feeling a bit better, a little tired still, but doing all right. My stomach has been a bit out of whack here, so let me figure this out. Give me a sec. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to do the staccato. Oops, this is the Bach one. Legato one. All right, here we go. Before we begin today's lesson, I want to mention that over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, I have over 20 courses designed to help you learn a lot more about piano and music. Whether you're a beginner looking to take or to have a solid foundation to build on, or you're looking to take your existing skills to that next level, my courses are going to help you do just that. If you're a fan of the YouTube channel, you're really going to enjoy my courses because not only do you get access to instructional videos similar to the ones you're used to, you also get access to notes to go along with the videos, printable sheet music examples, worksheets, assignments, and real sheet music to play to make sure you're not just learning each topic, but you have the opportunity to practice and master them as well. So go to pianolessonsontheweb.com now to check it out. Use code YouTube during checkout to get 15% off. All right, now for the lesson. Adding in staccato and legato in your piano playing can really bring your pieces to life. Well, your piano teacher Tim here, and today I'm going to give you some tips on how to play staccato and legato, as well as some helpful exercises so you can master them quickly. Okay, here we go. Let me just check in real quick and make sure everything's good. Not the orange color again, sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. All right, anyway. Here we go. Okay. Let me do this for, real quick, folks. I always like to bring up an example. And just helps so much. Hold on. And this example is not a good one. Okay, I have another idea. There we go. Thank you for the patience. There we go. All right. Okay, so what is staccato and legato? Well, staccato are these dots that are either above the note or below the note. It's really, really important that you don't use the dot that appears beside the note, because that is a dotted note, which is a note value. These are above or below, and quite simply, all you do with staccato notes is you play them short. So instead of like this, you're going to hit the notes like you're hitting a hot frying pan almost, coming right off of them. Or maybe like little raindrops or something like that. Legato, on the other hand, is designated by these arcing lines over many notes. And what that's going to tell you to do is to smoothly connect them. Okay. Forgot to show it there, but I'll edit it in later. So basically, instead of playing them like this, staccato, you're going to be playing them where you're only going to lift up off the note you've just played as soon as you're playing that next note. And that creates a smoothness, or what we call slurring, between the notes. So you can think of like if you're slurring your speech, you're blending your words together. Maybe you aren't quite as articulate. These are called articulations. You're not quite as articulate as you would like to be. So maybe you need to add some staccatos into your speech. So adding these in can make a huge difference. I'm just going to play the first opening line of this piece, and I'm going to play it without any staccatos or legatos whatsoever. So here we go. So as you can see, it sounded pretty flat, but if I add in the staccatos and legatos where they are appropriately, it just adds so much more to it. So here's the good example. So as you can see, just that little detail made all the difference. Let's talk about a bit about phrasing. So whenever you have slur lines or legatos, this is to create what we call phrases. Or like in speech, phrases kind of blend together to make complete ideas that, or segmented ideas that when they all come together, they make a complete sentence or a coherent idea. And the legato is no different. So whenever you have a legato line, like you do here in the beginning of this piece, this is Pathetique Sonata Movement 3, by the way. See how there's an end to that slur line? Well, just like at the end of a phrase, like you would breathe or you'd put a comma or a period, you want to ever so slightly have a slight break in the sound there, and that just helps kind of break up the ideas into musical ideas that make sense. So that's what really legatos are all about. Without them, the music would just kind of run all together like a run-on sentence. Think about if you wrote a paragraph and didn't have any periods in it. Sure, you could maybe figure out what it was trying to say, but it would be confusing and just not as good. So that's the point of all of this. All right. Hold on, everybody. Let me just check in real quick before we continue here. Okay, everybody looks like they're doing pretty good. Sean looks like he's taken my course. Helped me a lot to use it from time to time. I also have a private teacher, which is great. Great. All right, here we go. We're going to continue here. I just wanted to check in case anybody was telling me everything wasn't working, which I don't like. Here we go. Another quick tip I have about legatos and phrases is that the first note in a phrase you want to hit with just slight more emphasis. If you think about when you're speaking, you're going to have more punch the first words that you speak, and then as you go further and further in the sentence without taking a break, your voice will start to get softer and softer. So I kind of like to add in just a tiny amount of an accent on that first note. Okay, just making sure I didn't forget anything yet. I think we're on to the exercises now. Perfect. Okay. Now for some easy exercises so you can get some practice doing this. So let's take a look here. The simplest exercise that we probably know are your scales. And if you don't know, a C major scale is just from one C to the next C and all the notes in between. Well, the first thing you want to do, just assuming you've learned them hands together, if not, get on that, is that you want to start playing them both hands staccato. And of course, you want to do as many scales as you know. Oops, messing up the fingering here. And go through them and play them all staccato. Once you do that, you get comfortable with that, play them legato. Nicely smooth and connected together like that, and do all the ones you know. Then this is where it gets tricky, because a lot of times you won't just have staccato and then legato. You're literally going to have staccato in one hand and legato in another. So how should you practice with that? Well, let's go back to our scales. What I want you to do is I want you to start out, you're going to play right hand staccato, left hand legato. Now to accomplish this, if you're new, what should you do? You should slow it down. So here we go. Whoops. I did pretty good. I know I've done this many times before, so I'll try a little faster if I can. Pretty good. Now, you would do that with a lot of the scales you know. Now I'm going to flip it. Now I'm going to do staccato, legato. So here we go. And by just practicing this with your scales, it's going to give you a lot of opportunity to really simply focus in on the staccato and the legato, or whichever way it is. Because if you're just learning your scales for the first time, you want to know your scales pretty well. So if you're learning that for the first time, you're going to be concentrating on the notes. You don't want that. You want something very simple you can play, even if it's a 5-note exercise like this. And then you come back down, and then doing them staccato and legato like that. So you can even simplify it further. The whole goal, though, is to have an exercise where you're concentrating just on the coordination of the staccatos, legatos, and not anything else. Okay, here we go. Okay, I have a set of exercises which are perfect for what I'm talking about today, because as you can see, in one hand you have staccato, and then the other hand you don't. You can actually kind of pretend that maybe those are slurred together, or if you want to have a little disconnect between each note, you can do that. But as you can see, there's staccato on one hand, legato on another. As you can see by number 3, it is actually staccato and legato, and a lot of them are like this actually. This is by Carl Czerny, by the way, and this is a wonderful set of exercises for a multitude of reasons. But in terms of getting that staccato and legato between each hands, I highly recommend these. These are also great because these are more like what you would see in an actual sheet of music rather than the scales. I mean, you will see scales like that, but this will start introducing a lot more things that are actually a lot more applicable and things you will see more often. Okay, if you found the lesson helpful, make sure you smash that like button because it lets other students know that this is a quality lesson that you can learn from as well. Okay, back to the lesson. All right, everybody. I think that's it for the staccatos and the legatos. I'm going to do an outro, and then we're just going to get right on into the Bach stuff. I might read a couple questions before we do that. But yeah, moving right along here. So let me think about what I want to say for an outro. Okay, here we go. What would be the best? Because I could direct you to the Chopin lesson. Okay. Yeah. All right. No. Hold on. I was thinking about another lesson. Hold on. Okay. In today's lesson, we talked a lot about scales and how they can help you with staccato and legato. Make sure that you check out this playlist here of two-handed piano trainings that I've made. A lot of them have to do with scales as well as other patterns that are actually going to help you that you can apply to what we learned today as well. So check that out. Make sure you subscribe. You have all notifications turned on because we have new lessons coming out all the time. And you don't want to miss a beat. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thanks for coming by today. And I'll see you, yes you, in the next lesson. All right. We're still here. Just want to do that outro so when I piece it together. Anybody that's new here, first of all, we meet live Fridays, Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern. And also, the edited version of the live stream comes out, at least usually, I'm a little bit backlogged, usually comes out the following week. So check that out if you want all the fluff and stuff cut out, because I do understand a lot of people like that. And I like to add in a lot of things into the lesson that help it flow a bit better. All right, here we go. I probably don't need to do the pitch for the website again because I can just edit that in again. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to do the intro for this next lesson here. I'm still here, folks. Still here. I didn't go anywhere. Okay, just reading the intro. Okay. So you've probably heard about the famous composer Johann Sebastian Bach, and you may be wondering, what order do I learn his pieces in? Because they can vary greatly in terms of difficulty level. Well, your piano teacher Tim has you covered because I'm going to show you which ones you should start with. Okay, here we go. To break down the lesson, I'm going to introduce each piece, including what you're going to get out of learning the piece and basically why that is a good choice for a beginner. Let's get started. Okay, how's everybody doing in the chat? Good? Uh-oh, Rich is getting old. He's not playing video games anymore. Tisk. I don't play as. What's weird is I'll get like a month or two where I will play him quite a bit, and then I'll have like a period of 6 months. Like right now, I haven't been playing him much, which is interesting because I have a few good games that I kind of want to play, but I haven't been playing too much. All right, here we go. Let me get all this stuff ready, guys. All right, here we go. The first piece I recommend you learn is the Prelude in C from the Well-Tempered Clavier. Now, you may notice some of these pieces we talked about on the channel before. However, towards the end of the list, there will be some I haven't talked about. The Prelude in C major is such a great choice for beginners because even though it looks a little complicated, it's very, very, very repetitive. So once you get the pattern down, it only the notes will only move a little bit between each measure. So when you're first learning a piece, you don't want something that jumps between hand positions a lot. That's why I don't recommend things like Fur Elise a whole lot, or even like Moonlight Sonata. There's just too much hand movement going on. Some people can handle that as a beginner. A lot of people can't. So stick with stuff like this. It's also a very well-known and beautiful sounding piece. And as you can see, it only changes a little bit measure to measure. Nothing crazy going on. And then this one is also all about the dynamics. So it's great practice for adding in simple dynamics because the notes are so simple. Now, obviously, you want to learn your notes first and then learn your dynamics. But those are some good highlights on why you should start with this one first, believe me. Okay, on to the next one. We're going to kind of quickly fly through a lot of these because, well, based on what I know, that's kind of what people want. If I start going too much into each one, they lose interest. Unless that's what the lesson's about. Anyway, here we go. Minuet in G. Okay, the next piece I recommend. No, let me do this. Okay, the next piece I recommend is Minuet in G by Petzold. Wait, what? Wait, why isn't it not Bach? Well, here's the thing, is for a long time people thought this was a work of Bach because it's in the style that he wrote in. It has counterpoint, different lines of melody going on, things like that. And later on, they found out it was by this guy named Petzold, and it's from actually the notebook of Anna Magdalena Bach, which makes it even more confusing. So just know that this technically isn't Bach. However, it is in his style. And it's really a good step up from the piece I had just talked about, the Prelude in C, because there's a little bit more going on. It's not the same pattern over and over and over again. It does change, and it does have a little bit more going on between each note. But it's still nothing too crazy, and as you can see, there are some ornamentations in there that I would add in if I was learning this for real, but it's really nothing too crazy. It's just a great stepping stone from the piece we just talked about. What you're going to get out of it is you're going to get more hand movement practice out of it. Like I said, you're going to add in those little ornamentations. Those are like those little squiggles, the mordents, the turns, grace notes, things like that, but nothing too crazy. You also have some good practice with some scale patterns in here in case you need that, because of course you do. And it's just good practice also with like the repeats. A lot of pieces repeat just at the end and you go all the way back to the beginning. However, this one's a little different. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about here. This one's a little different because it has repeats in the middle, so you'll have to practice on how to do those and pay attention to that. Okay, on to the next piece. I've included a link to all these in the description, guys, so if you want to check that out, you can. Okay. Let me try downloading this, because I don't know how well it will display. 8 notes. Where's the download? There's print. Oh, up here, PDF. PDF, maybe. Oh, it wants me to... Okay, all right, never mind. I'll just use this then. And edit it. All right. The next piece is Musette in D major, back to J.S. Bach. So this one is by Bach. This one, also fairly good for beginners. It does start out with different patterns between each hand. But then you have this thing where you'll come in and you'll be playing notes in parallel, meaning you're playing the same notes between each hand. So that makes it a little bit more manageable. And then you have this different thing going on, different kind of pattern. But nothing crazy, and luckily it's repetitive again. Again, good at practicing repeats that occur in the middle of the piece. And overall, not bad. Little segments of scales here and there. Good practice with octaves in your left hand in case you have trouble reaching those. There's a little bit of a challenge section here in the middle with some accidentals, but nothing too outrageous. So it's a great stepping stone past the one we just talked about, that Minuet in G. So check this one out. Okay. Let me just make sure everything's good. Okay, everything looks good. All right, we got 3 more. Pretty sure. Okay, downloaded this before. Yep. Okay, this is another Prelude in C major. Yes, there are lots of them out there by Bach, of course. So taking a look at this one's a little different. This is called, I think this is a little prelude, and it's out of the collection, something about little preludes. I'll make sure I'll just include a link for you in the description. The cool thing about this one is, again, it's just another little step up from the last one we played. You have things like you're holding octaves while you're playing right hand notes, which is something we really haven't had any practice with. And then what happens is that at the end of the line, you switch, where basically the left hand had the part the right hand had, which you'll find a lot with Bach as he does counterpoint, and they kind of trade off between which hand is the feature between the both. Again, really good practice with some inverted mordents here, or some mordents, and some simple scale patterns, and maybe even some simple arpeggios in the left hand. A little bit of a scale pattern going on here at the end. So again, really good practice for your rudimentary kind of thing. It's a little tougher than some of the other ones we've talked about. However, it's very short. We're just 4 lines long, makes it a bit more manageable, which is what you want to do. When you start learning hard or more difficult pieces, you don't have to do this, but what I recommend is shoot for pieces that are really short. So for instance, like if you're learning some Chopin preludes, one that's like a little bit tougher, it's not even that tough, but one that's like kind of in the middle, but you should learn, is the Prelude. I think it's either an A major or E major. Someone will correct me, where it's kind of complicated, but it's like 2 lines long. So you want to go shoot for stuff like that. Okay, it's getting hot in here with the lights. Wow, we're doing good here, everybody. We got almost 2 lessons done. And, I mean, we still have a little bit to go. Okay, here we go. Okay, time to get into more complicated stuff. Stuff I haven't talked a whole lot about on the channel, and this are Bach inventions. So Bach inventions are little inventions that Bach wrote, all designed to help you train a certain part of your hand. You can think of these as etudes, pretty much. And you're going to see a lot of scale patterns here, however, in a much more complicated kind of fashion than you were seeing before. As you can see, a lot more activity. Actually, the activity changes between the right hand, the left hand, the right hand, and the left hand. I'll make sure to edit something in so you can see that a little bit easier. And yeah, this one, I'm going to be honest with you, even though it's considered an easier Bach piece, it's going to challenge you quite a bit more than the other pieces I've introduced. But it's also a good step up. Like, learn all the ones I've taught you before today, and then shoot for this one. And then I think you'll do all right. So you want to learn invention number 1 in C major. That makes it easy. You also want to learn one more invention. And that is invention number 4 in D minor. Again, a lot of the same things and benefits of learning the Prelude in C major are here, or the invention in C major here. Good practice with counterpoint. Really, really good practice with your fingering. If I was learning this one for real, you would see lots of finger numbers written in, especially in any areas where I was goofing on or running out of fingers. Super good practice for that. Good practice for trills. Holding a longer trill while you're doing some stuff in the left hand there. It seems to trade that off. Then you're doing the trill in the left hand while you're having more activity in the right hand. So a great, great stepping stone, again, from what we just talked about. If you found today's lesson helpful, make sure you smash that like button, because it lets other people know that this is a quality lesson that they can learn from as well. All right, back to the lesson. All right, everybody. Let me do an outro. I'm going to stick around. We'll probably stick around to the hour. Or, it looks like I will get to questions today, which is good. So it's 2 15-minute lessons or so, which is great. That worked out perfect. I try to make the lessons like a perfect amount, like length. You know what I mean? Because for a long time I was thinking like, and YouTubers say that, you'll hear YouTubers say this, like, oh, you got to make your lessons 10 minutes, or you got to make them 20 minutes or 15. It's like, there's no magic number. The most important thing you got to remember is that the lesson or whatever video you're making has to be as long as it needs to be, period. So you like get all the information across and not repeat yourself. So anyway, I'm gonna let me do an outro, and then I'll get to some questions and kind of update you guys on what's happening. There is a little bit happening behind the scenes here. Okay, here we go. If you're interested in learning more about classical composers or Baroque composers, you want to check out this playlist right here. You want to check out some of the other lessons I did, maybe about the first Chopin pieces you should learn. And yeah, so go over there and check out those. Thanks for coming by today. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here from Piano Lessons on the Web. You have a great day, and I'll see you, yes, you, in the next lesson. All right, everybody. I'm still here. Still here. Fanny, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Super, super appreciated. It looks like I'm not going to be able to get to everybody's questions just because we've had a lot, it looks like. So I will just kind of peruse. If I missed your important question, I apologize. Rohit asks, are those finger numbers above the notes just like course exercises? Are they usually present in sheet music? The answer to that is like yes, that the answer is no, you're not going to see them written in your sheet music all the time. However, you should always be paying attention to what fingers you should be using on each note. A great way to get into this for the first time is to begin learning your scales, because that will teach you simple finger crosses between each hand. Tim, how do you know? Welcome, Rich, by the way. It's been a minute, although I know you're busy these days. Tim, how did you know to play left hand as staccatos when it's not indicated on the sheet music? Which song did I play with that? It could be, especially if it's one of these Bach ones, it could be that I played a version of it before where it was written out, or it could have been that a teacher told me to do it, or it could be instinct. Sometimes if you see legato in one hand and nothing written in the other hand, you probably want to make, even if there's nothing indicated in the other hand, you probably want to make those shorter. Maybe not staccato short, because you can detach notes, right? Here's legato, and here's what I would play if nothing was written. See how there's a little bit of space between each note, but it's not it's not like this, like that. So it's just an instinct thing. You may want to experiment around, like just if you have staccato in one hand, you want that contrast there. So play around with it. If you feel like having it too short, staccato doesn't make it sound right, then maybe find something in between. I want to thank you, Fanny, again, and thank you so much, Jeremy, for that super chat. Thank you guys so much for the $10. Really, really appreciated it. Really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much for your support. Oh, yeah. Dayan has given me a $2 super chat. Thank you so much, with a comment that just says 10. Thank you so much for that. Okay, here we go. All right, everybody. So basically playing a melody is like talking. Yeah, I would think about that. And when you're playing melodies, I would think about singing them, even if you're not a good singer, because then you'll put appropriate breaths and things like that. That message retracted. Dayan has given us a $10 super chat now. Thank you so much for that. That's probably why you meant to write 10 in there. I just realized you guys couldn't really see me for a minute, but here we go. Okay. Tim, what you gave us already today is great. Exercises and pieces to learn, and in what order? Perfect. Yeah, I'm trying to think more, and I think this has really paid off, thinking more about like what lessons you guys would really find helpful. Like trying to put my mind in your mind. It's just weird. Trying to think like, all right, what kind of lessons would Fanny want? What kind of lessons, might Jeremy be looking for, or things that Rich has brought up. So having the live stream has been pretty helpful with that, I would say. Okay. Wait, hold on. Sorry, I had to refresh there for a second. It's being weird. All right, everybody. I have more. I have some things I want to announce. Let me see what says Dayan has to say since they gave us a super chat. One of the problem I have is I have a hard time to hit the notes the exact same time by the two hands when needed. We'll go back to your scales. If you haven't learned scales already, great place to start. And you want to go super slow, dude. Like real slow, dude. Yeah, dude. Real slow. And as slow as you need to go. If you start messing up, you need to slow down more. And start with scales, because that's a really simple way to get that really basic hand coordination down. Like that. You're very welcome, Diane. Afro Samurai says, "Sir, tell me something about you." I don't know. What should I tell you? I don't like to get too personal on the channel because I'm kind of learning that it's important to keep the YouTube channel and my life separated in some ways, because what I used to do is I used to never make that time cut off. Like, this time is for YouTube and then this time is my personal time. And I kind of messed that up for a long time, and it gets really stressful mixing all that up. But anyway, I will share with you something relatively personal, but nothing like insane. I don't know. I like cats. I might get one some point. I don't know. There you go. There's your nugget of information for today. I've been playing piano since I was 6. I got started playing piano because I was playing video games too much, as were my brother and sister. And my dad had read an article in something called the Reader's Digest about how the one thing that kids didn't regret that they were forced to do was take music lessons. So not he, but him and my mom forced us all to take music lessons. My brother and sister dropped out, a while after taking them, because that wasn't really the goal. It was like really just to give us something to do. And I kept with it, and here we are today. So it worked out pretty well for me. One of the reasons I still play video games to this day is because, in a weird way, it's kind of why we're here now, in a way. Because I can't say that, like, if I was involved in other things, like sports or whatever, I don't know if I probably wouldn't have been forced to take music lessons. And then a weird little tidbit of information is, when I came up with like this setup here, I have like this camera setup. I have me, I have you, I have the screens, all that. I got that idea from gaming YouTubers and gaming streamers, because they had this setup. In fact, this software I'm using is really for live streaming anything, but a big part of it's gaming. Gaming is a huge part of that. Tim is a music teacher. That's very good, Jeremy. That's right. That's all you got to know. That's all you got to know. Well, think about me like as your teacher from school, right? Like you might know a couple personal things about me, but it wouldn't really be appropriate for me to like tell you everything about me. Let's take a look here. The Bird 101 says, Tim was forced and I begged my mom to let me take piano lessons. Yes, that's actually pretty funny. I was forced and I didn't want to do it. Well, it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to do it. It was just that I didn't really think about it. It wasn't like, oh my God, I want to play piano so bad. It was just like, yeah, I'll do it. Sounds good. Sean Korish. Welcome back, Sean. I think it's been a while. I like to take one phrase from a piece that I'm learning and redo it in all scales, but not all the time. Great lesson, Tim. That's a great tip. That's awesome. All right, let me walk you through some things I'm thinking about on the channel because we are in the last 20 minutes or so. Rich, if you're still here, how's it going, man? How's the wedding planning going? Did you say you were getting married in July? Philly Will says, I traded in most of my gaming hours to learn piano recently. Can never totally give up the games, though. I agree. And I don't think you should. Not totally. I mean, it's understandable that when you get to be an adult, you're just not going to have that time, but I try to make a little time for it. And to be honest, I love piano. I love playing piano. I love teaching piano. But at the end of the day, after working with piano all day, do I really want to finish the day off with more piano, or do I want to do something different? You know? That's like if you're married. You love your wife, but, you know, every once in a while you just want some time to, like, zone out. Our Samurai says, thank you, sir. Very welcome. Billy Will says, I traded in most of my gaming hour. Okay, I've read that. I started playing music when I was 10. And only started taking lessons when I was 40. All right, well, that's a cool thing, and that's something that, wait, let me read. See, that's something that's cool that I always try to keep in mind with my beginner students. Like, even if I teach them and they don't grab hold of it now, they may way later be like, you know what, learning piano was actually kind of cool, and I want to do it now. So that's what I kind of shoot for. I always try to make learning enjoyable. Jeremy says he loves learning music, and you can never stop learning. There's always something new to learn. That's true. And the cool thing about music is, like, it's one of those things where the more you learn, the more out there that you can understand. So you'll, like, read things about music from time to time and be like, wow, the wording on that and the terminology is way over my head. So as you get to that point where you can understand it, it just opens up and opens up and opens up. And you can never, ever master music, meaning like every instrument, music history, music theory, music this, composition, transpositions, all that. You can't master all of that stuff in a lifetime. You just can't. At least I don't. I've never met anybody that comes very close. Because think about it. You either hear about professional pianists or professional violinists, and very rarely do you ever see somebody that's both. Because you can really only be the best at one thing. Because to be the best at one thing, you got to do that one thing and that one thing only a million times. The link between games and music is quite interesting. I got into piano recently, though. Oh, recently through video games. That's amazing. What kind of games do you like? My last request is, can you play Love Me Tender? If you don't mind, otherwise it's okay. Yeah, sorry. I don't take, during the live stream anyway, unless I do like a special live stream, I don't really take requests. Only because if I did everybody's requests, it just wouldn't work. So sorry about that. I would love to. Can't do it. All right, everybody, here we go. I want to show you just a couple of things I'm thinking about right now. It has to do with the website. So over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, I mentioned about courses earlier, but if you go to the community tab and you scroll down, if you want to attend regularly with us, you dig these live lessons, make sure you fill out this form. You're going to get an email reminder 30 minutes before we meet. So it's just another way, beyond the YouTube reminder system, which is kind of shoddy at times, another way to get reminded, and I'll send you a link as well in that email. Okay, scrolling down is the most important part because you're going to get the calendar of what we're talking about and when. Sorry, I need a drink. So, today, June 9th, we were learning about the easiest Bach pieces. I'm probably going to actually cancel next Sunday's lesson because it is Father's Day, and I'm thinking about spending at least part of the day with my dad. So I'm sure you guys can understand that. So keep your eyes open. Anyway, check back from time to time to see what we're going to be covering and when. The big thing that I have to tell you, which is behind the scenes kind of thing, and it's like, I don't even know if, I mean, you will see the benefit of it because I think they'll do a better job than me. At least that's what I'm looking for, and I know there are better editors out there. Anyway, finally, after years of thinking about it, I'm going to hire a video editor. So I've written up the job description of like exactly what I want, and I've thought about exactly what I want. The reason I've been so hesitant for a long time about hiring editor is because one, I bought a house, new bills with a house, you know, mortgage and tons of bills, and I wanted to make sure I could afford those first. I mean, kind of makes sense, right? Can't really teach if I don't have a house. I mean, I could go back to my dad's house, but I wouldn't want to do that. Anyway, so anyway, I finally bit the bullet. I was kind of looking at it the wrong way because for a long time I was looking at it like, oh, well, you know, if I can fit in the hours during the week to edit the videos, I should, because one, I'll get better at video editing, which I do like getting better at. I don't like editing videos all the time, though. That really gets to me. But anyway, for a long time, I was kind of hemming and hawing about it. And then I realized I need to look at it more as a business expense. Well, I mean, that is what it is. And knowing that, okay, especially if I hire an editor that is better than me at editing, it's going to reflect in the channel and how well the lessons do. So really, it's an investment. It's not like, oh, I'm just throwing this money extra each month to something that just goes down the toilet. It's something that will pay off, at least hopefully. If it doesn't, I'll get rid of them, but it will. It'll work out. But anyway, that's what you might see a change in the lesson slightly over the next few weeks as I hire somebody, because they'll probably have a little bit different of a flair than I do, but it will be better. Like, I'm only gonna have them edit my videos if they're better than me at editing. You know, it doesn't make sense to do it otherwise. But anyway, that's what I'm thinking about behind the, you know, scenes business stuff a little bit. You are much more, Tim. You are an accomplished musician, but teach us discreetly and motivate and encourage us successfully. You are the only one to do classical music. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Fanny. Let's see here. Awesome, Tim. Thanks, Jeremy. What's your opinion about Sonata 9 by Mozart? It's good. I actually don't know. I feel like I do know that one. Let me look it up, though. Mozart. Oh, this is K311. I haven't played this one, but I taught this before. If it's this one. Okay. Just looking at it here. You know, out of the Mozart sonatas, this one's actually not bad. Let me show you if this is indeed the one you're thinking about. This one's not bad to learn as a relative beginner. But I would say in terms of just looking at the first page and what I know about it, in terms of like the first Mozart sonatas, this one actually is not a bad choice. Great practice with staccato and legato, I see, because you do have them alternating between each one. So yeah, I'd say, I don't know what your playing level is, but I'd say maybe go for it. All right, everybody. I'm trying to think about if there's any last minute things I want to go over. Other than the video editor, it's going to save me so much time. The thing I ran into too is like sometimes I'll like rush to get the video edited in time. So, and that affects the video's performance. So I just can't do that anymore. Like as I get further and further along, I become more of a perfectionist. And sometimes you just have to put out something that's like not 100% your best, but it at least should be like 90-some% of what your ability is. But I get more and more picky. Like before I used to just, I remember back in 16, sorry if I'm bothering any of you with this long-winded shit, but I remember back in 2016, I would just put out, like my goal was consistency no matter what, week to week. But what I was doing is I was putting out like crappy videos. So if you put out 52 crappy videos and you make every upload each week, it doesn't matter. Like, it's actually better to upload 25 times in a year of like good content than it is 52 times of like eh. So, and I'm trying to do 2 lessons a week, so of really good quality. So, I think that's what we need to make this happen. Sean says, like the whole pinged awesome idea. Okay, about the I think it's 5 pages. Okay. Jeremy says not bothering you. Well, good. Glad it's not bothering Jeremy. I don't think it bothers most of you. It bothers old people. I hate to say, there's a lot of like retirees. I'll get, not a lot, but sometimes I'll get a comment on one of my videos, and it's always like somebody over 60 that's like, I don't have time for shenanigans. Like, I don't know. You know, I like to get down and to right to the lesson, but I also like to have fun with it too. So I hope you guys don't hate that too much. All right, Sean, of course, says like the whole piece. Oh, I see. I like the whole piece. Awesome idea. I see. I got what you're saying now. All right. I guess Rich isn't here now. I wanted to see how he was doing. But anyway, anybody, thanks for coming by today. We're going to meet again next Friday. Like I said, I don't know about next Sunday because it's Father's Day. I'll keep you in the loop. And yeah, look forward to more great lessons. I'm excited about this video editor. I think it's going to help a lot. And it's long overdue. For sure. Okay. Yeah, go to pianolessonsontheweb.com. If you love what you see over here on the channel, remember to use code YouTube during checkout for an additional 15% off. If you guys haven't been to my website before, which I'm sure a lot of you have, especially if you're a regular attendee here on the live stream. Sorry for the mistakes. I'm using a laptop. That's no problem. Or even if it's a language issue, I understand that perfectly because I've had to work with a lot of people around the world and get used to how they speak, or them getting used to how I speak. Because to me, I don't have an accent, but I'm sure to other people I do. Good luck with everything, Tim. Thanks, Jeremy. You too. And everybody else. You know, I always wish you guys the best in everything you do. And, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah. And Rich, if you're listening, best of luck to you on your wedding. But we'll get some feedback from you another time. All right. Yeah, I'm sure everything will go well. I know it will go well. That seems to be the trend. And 100,000 subscriber video. I didn't want to do one last week. I actually had trouble sleeping last week because I've had some stomach issues because I changed up my diet, and I'm kind of changing it back to be like in between. So my body's cooperating a bit better now. Anyway, that might be coming out. I'll at least make some. I really do want to make a video, my just base thoughts about it. I was pretty emotional about it last week. I feel like I make like maybe a little bit more of a like well thought out kind of thing this week. Anyway, guys, thanks for coming by. It's been your piano teacher, Tim here. Remember to leave a big flat like on the video if you liked it, you found it helpful. It really helps a lot. But you guys have a great week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover. I don't think so. It's been your piano teacher, Tim here from Piano Lessons on the Web. You have a great one. Thanks for coming out to our classroom, and I'll see you in the next lesson. All right, everybody, you have a great week. All right, everybody, have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon.